So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the UK-New Zealand deal just not making any sense to me whatsoever. And I know it's not really meant to do that because it was a desperate trade deal by a desperate country that it's lost and trying to find its place in the world. But you've got this headline from the BBC, right? New Zealand deal to boost Northern Ireland economy by 0.01%, which is nothing. And then you've got the BBC's top line, which is official government estimates suggest that a UK trade deal with New Zealand will boost Northern Ireland's economy by just 0.01%. So why didn't you put that in the title bit, estimate, and just? Why is the headline so different to the first couple of lines in the article? Like, honestly, John Campbell, the BBC editor, like, bro, like, what is wrong with you, man? But yeah, anyways, before I go on and ramble about the BBC, let's talk about the rest of this article. So, the deal was formally signed on Monday. At the time, means tariffs will be eliminated on all UK exports to New Zealand. Imports of some of the country's food products, mostly lamb and beef, will be covered by a quota for up to 15 years to give farmers time to get the hell out. Because we're going to be importing so much from New Zealand. Australia has a similar sort of things in that deal as well. That means if imports rise above a certain level, tariffs can be imposed, and essentially makes it pointless to import the meat because it's going to cost too much. International Trade Secretary Anne Marie said that among the tariffs being eliminated on UK exports, and this is where it doesn't make sense, are those of up to 10% on clothing. So again, it could be 1% or 2% on certain things, and footwear. So great, New Zealand can buy cheaper clothes and shoes from Britain, even though most clothes are manufactured in places like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China, which are really close to New Zealand. So why they would import clothes from and shoes from the UK makes no sense when Bangladesh is like the number one textile exporter in the world and is very close to New Zealand compared to the UK. Okay, and 5% off buses and on ships. Again, why would they import ships and buses from us, given how far away we are? That doesn't make any sense. And 5% off bulldozers and excavators. So I was trying to find like these in terms of the UK exports, right? The following list of the UK the top exports of the UK, right? So I did some Control F. The only one I could find was construction vehicles, which we export 2,444 per year. So this is from 2019. This is the value in millions, right? So we export 244 million pounds worth of construction vehicles, right? Something like that. But how much of that do we export to New Zealand? Probably not a lot, given there's a lot of competition in that industry. This would be exported mainly to probably EU countries that might want to buy UK excavators. Like buying these like bulldozers and things like that, like they're so heavy, the shipping on them would be insane. Why would you buy them from the UK? It doesn't make any sense. And 5% off is a lot when you're talking how expensive they would be, but they still go through customs and other things, so it just doesn't make sense. She added that smaller businesses should find it easier to break into the New Zealand market as a result of modernised customs procedures. Now, I would assume, right, that New Zealand would have really modernised customs procedures anyways, considering they deal with a lot of third countries. They would import from a lot of third countries. So why wouldn't they have modernised customs procedures? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I could be wrong, but I would assume that would be a given because of who New Zealand are in the world, what they are in the world. So I'd assume they would have modernised customs procedures. That doesn't make sense. You could tout getting rid of tariffs as being great, but what have you got? 10% off on clothes, 5% on buses, not a lot. Considering the EU has very high tariffs on beef and lamb, it sounds like New Zealand got a way better deal, considering we still have some of those tariffs from the EU for third countries. The economic analysis also contains a downside scenario in which the deal could mean the Northern Ireland economy takes a hit. And this is where I got very annoyed with the writer of this article, because in this scenario, Northern Ireland's economic output could be hit by 0.06% or £26 million over 15 years, compared to a scenario where there was no trade deal. So essentially they could take a £26 million hit. Now it's interesting, right? it's interesting that this bit is in the bottom of the article, or towards the bottom. There's not a ton left here. Okay, but so you got this bit here, right? Why is the author ran with a New Zealand deal to boost Northern Ireland economy by 0.01%, a very definitive statement. And in the sentences here, he's saying, "Oh, look, it could boost it. According to the government, it will boost it, but that's just forecasting, right?" But then in this kind of downside scenario, this is best case scenario, by the way, 0.01%. Why is it the downside scenario? It's like, oh, it could hit it by 0.06%. It feels like he's trying to push it as a great thing for Northern Ireland when 0.01% best case scenario is pretty bad, and 0.06% hit £26 million is really bad, considering a trade deal is meant to boost your economy, not damage it. So again, it doesn't make sense. BBC don't make sense. So none of this economic modelling explicitly takes account of any impacts arising from the Northern Ireland Protocol. Imports into Northern Ireland can only make use of UK trade deals if the difference between the applied tariff and applied UK tariff and EU tariff is less than 3% of the value of the goods. So essentially, the EU tariffs on third countries are very high. So until the EU get a deal with New Zealand, that kind of New Zealand beef won't really be exported into Northern Ireland, which makes the Northern Ireland Protocol and all the checks that happen in the Irish Sea more and more important as the UK signs stupid trade deals with countries with lower standards than us. Because the EU tariff for imports of lots of food products is so high, I think it's between like 10 and 40% depending on the products. The EU tariff and UK's trade deal tariff with New Zealand will be over 3%. So the gap between the two will be way more than 3%. So that kind of food, Northern Ireland won't benefit from this trade deal. Essentially, this means New Zealand's food exports to Northern Ireland are unlikely to make use of the trade deal. So essentially, Northern Ireland is protected from New Zealand beef, and it will be from Australian beef. The EU and New Zealand are currently negotiating for a trade deal, which, if agreed, would likely remove those protocol issues, but it depends because the EU might not give a ton of concessions on agri-foods considering how powerful an exporter New Zealand is, but geography also plays a part in this. So analysis. So this is what our glorious BBC editor has come up with. At the level of the whole economy, the effects of this trade deal are trivial. That is not surprising. Well, not really, considering we were told we would get great deals from countries around the world. There was none of this, oh yeah, we're playing 4D chess so we can get accepted into the CPTPP. I mean, he fails to mention this, but okay. New Zealand is a small economy, is a long way away, and already has low barriers to trade, so the deal was never going to make a big difference. So that's what further leads me to question the point of UK exporters having, will have modernised customs procedures to face in New Zealand when New Zealand already didn't have a lot of barriers. So that statement doesn't make sense from Anne-Marie, but a lot of the things Anne-Marie says doesn't make sense. So, however, it forms a wider strategy to get into the CPTPP. The problem is, to join the CPTPP, there are a lot of different members that can veto, and the fact that the UK doesn't want to import hormone beef is a big problem for members in the CPTPP, because a lot of these countries, Australia, which I believe is a member of the CPTPP, and Canada use hormones on their animals, and the UK does not, and that's a key problem for those countries. But anyways, this is a nonsensical article, but it does show you that it's not great for New Zealand. No idea what the title is going to be, except from the New Zealand deal makes no sense, essentially. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.